The old house loomed, a shadow against the twilight sky. Sarah parked the car, its headlights cutting through the years of neglect that shrouded Eldridge House. Dust motes danced in the pale beams. She felt a shiver run down her spine. The house seemed to be watching her, its windows like vacant eyes. It had been 20 years since Sarah last stepped foot in this place. 20 years since her family left, fleeing the whispers and shadows that clung to the old manor. Now, with her mother's passing, Sarah was the sole custodian of this legacy of secrets. She was drawn back to confront the ghosts of her past. A lone crow cawed from a nearby oak tree, its cry echoing in the stillness. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. Taking a deep breath, Sarah picked up the old, tarnished key. It felt cold and heavy in her hand. With trembling fingers, she made her way towards the front door. The heavy oak door creaked open. As if disturbed from a long slumber, it groaned in protest. Sarah stepped inside, the air instantly turning cold and stale. It was like stepping into a tomb. The scent of dust and decay intensified, catching in her throat. The house was shrouded in an almost deafening silence. It was the kind of silence that pressed in on you, amplifying every creak and groan of the old house. Sarah's footsteps echoed on the hardwood floor as she moved through the foyer. Each sound sent shivers down her spine. Cobwebs clung to the once grand chandelier, now draped in shadows. Dust lay thick on the antique furniture, remnants of a life lived and lost. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of memories both cherished and feared. As Sarah ventured deeper into the house, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Unseen eyes followed her every move. The silence was not empty, but rather filled with a palpable tension, a sense of anticipation that sent chills down her spine. She found herself holding her breath, listening for any sound that might break the oppressive quiet. But there was nothing, only the echo of her own heartbeat in her ears. The old mahogany desk stood against the wall in the study. It was covered in a thick layer of dust, undisturbed for years. Sarah ran her fingers over the smooth, cool surface, her touch leaving trails in the grime. The scent of old wood and forgotten things filled the air. As she pulled out the chair, it scraped harshly against the wooden floor, the sound echoing through the silent house. She sat down and opened the desk drawer. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed papers and tarnished silverware, lay a small, ornately carved wooden box. It was crafted from a dark, almost black wood and adorned with intricate carvings of twisting vines and strange, otherworldly creatures. The carvings seemed to writhe and shift in the dim light. Lifting the box carefully, Sarah felt a cold shiver run down her spine. It was unexpectedly heavy, as if filled with something more than just wood and time. A small, tarnished keyhole adorned the front, its surface cold and smooth beneath her touch. The attic was dark and dusty, filled with the discarded remnants of a bygone era. Sarah navigated through the labyrinth of forgotten furniture and cobweb-draped trunks, her heart pounding in her chest. The only light came from the single bare bulb hanging precariously from the rafters, casting long, dancing shadows around her. Finally, she found what she was looking for, a small wooden chest tucked away in the far corner beneath a dusty old portrait. It was locked, but the antique key, cold and heavy in her hand, fit perfectly. Inside, she discovered a bundle of old letters, tied together with a faded ribbon. The paper was brittle and yellowed with age, the ink faded but still legible. With trembling hands, Sarah untied the ribbon and began to read. The letters were written in a flowing, elegant script, each one filled with longing and a growing sense of dread. They told the story of her great-grandmother Elizabeth, and her descent into madness after discovering a hidden room within the house, a room that held a dark secret, a presence that whispered to her from the shadows. One letter in particular made her blood run cold. It was the last one Elizabeth had written, the writing frantic and filled with terror. "Beware the door," it read. "It must never be opened. What lies beyond is not meant for mortal eyes." Sarah reread the words, her heart pounding in her chest. Beware the door. The attic, once a place of forgotten memories, suddenly felt oppressive, filled with unseen eyes. She could almost hear Elizabeth's frantic warnings echoing in the silence. A cold draft seemed to emanate from the far end of the attic, swirling around her like a phantom limb. She turned slowly, her gaze drawn to a section of the wall that seemed to shimmer and distort in the dim light. As she approached, she saw it. A door concealed beneath layers of peeling wallpaper and dust, its outline barely visible. The forbidden door. Elizabeth's warning screamed in her mind, but curiosity warred with fear. With a deep breath, Sarah reached out and placed her hand on the cold, rough surface of the door. The wood felt strangely alive beneath her touch, as if pulsing with a hidden energy. For a moment, she hesitated, torn between fleeing the attic and uncovering the secrets that lay hidden beyond. Then, with a resolute push, she opened the door.